What's up? You got some familiar faces down here. Coaching and teaching obviously are evolutionary year to year. What was this season like for you, being away from the game, and how did you approach preparing for this next opportunity?
Yeah, this was a really unique season for me, obviously, and it wound up being full of grandkids and games, and I saw more football games this year than you can imagine. All the high school games, JV, varsity, UW games, and then of course everybody that's playing all over the league, watching all those games. So it was really a fun off season in a sense that kind of just extended, but it was really rewarding too, because you have an opportunity to look at a whole different vantage point, and in that I saw things differently than I've seen them in a long time. So I'm hoping to take advantage of that. So I'm really excited about getting over it.
What's this month looking like? It's been about a month since you've been on the job. Looking at your team and kind of finding out about the Raiders.
It's a really frantic pace to get everything going. Really hiring the staff is great demand. Getting to know Johnny and getting things going with him, and all of the stuff for the organization. It's just been a blur, really, and so it's been fun as can be. Getting excited about putting the team together, getting new players. There's a bunch of players are in the building, so all of that just has been an ongoing process. It's really kind of slows down getting here, to tell you the truth. So it's been really fun.
How much of Chip Kelly's offense were you able to watch at Ohio State, and what really intrigued you to bring him in as your OC?
Amazing offense. 2,000-yard rushers, 2,000-yard receivers.
Everything really is player.
National championship and the whole thing. It was an incredible view throughout the season. I was watching them all year long, and so I didn't know that we would get a chance to get it done. Because I didn't know what he was thinking, but I've been a fan of his for a long time. We met way back in the Oregon days, when we were going against him in SC and all that. And at the time when he was setting the pace of the game at a whole different level, it was a really fun relationship. Following that, he used to come see us at Seattle, so it's had a long time friendship.
As you evaluate this team, you get the look, what has pleasantly surprised you about the results?
I met a bunch of guys, and I like their outlook and their approach. These guys are really, really hungry for obvious reasons. Well, hungry anyway, but they're really, want to do something special and make something of this time. It might not seem like it, but our careers go really quickly, and for these guys that are doing the playing, the sense of urgency is really obvious. We've got some highlighted players, and that I'm excited about. The opportunity to see this thing turn is what really charges me.
Pete, you mentioned working.
Yes. What's up, boss?
Can you just take us back over the past year in terms of you getting out of coaching? Did you always want to get back here?
Yeah, I didn't. If you remember, I didn't retire, and I did that purposely. I wasn't ready to stop coaching, but we had a nice agreement up there as we turned this thing around, and I was really excited for John Schneider to get his chance to do what he gets to do, but in my mind, I was always competing for what was coming up, and so that was, maybe the actions I took, because you didn't see me very visibly. I was not making a point to do that. Really wanted to take to the opportunity of being around my family and all of that, but stay with the game throughout. So there was really not much of a shift, but I do know what retirement will be like, though. I do know that.
Why is it important for you to spend the combine? What do you get out of the third round?
Oh, there's so much. There's so much interactions. It's a chance for me with our coaches. I've met for all morning until we got in the car to get over here with my defensive staff. We're evaluating the players at the same time, learning about each other and how we see guys and how we interview them and all of that. Putting together this class. Remember, we're also in the midst of free agency with our own players and the players that we might have a chance to attract. So all of that is just keeping us all going. It's nonstop. So it's been great.
You mentioned
previous teams you've been with, it took a little while to get your team to the top with the Raiders. You're trying to do that from day one. What steps have you taken to put that plan in action, or what will you be doing?
Yeah, I think
That's a good question.
obviously you
Yeah,
got to find the happy medium.
this is the same process. This is not a different process than the last couple times I had a shot at it. It does take some time to get your foothold, and we've got a lot of philosophy and approach that is unique to the way we do things. That it takes some time to get that going. Meanwhile, it's right now, and so that's a really fun part of it. You know, the urgency is there, it's so obvious, but yet there's so much teach and learning that's going on that's really exciting to me. That's we'll see how it goes. It does take some time. I don't know how long. You know, I'm ready to go right now.
Coach, you mentioned
one of the first teams that you were connected with when you were coming back was the Bears, and you had an interview with them early on. What attracted you to that opportunity at the time, and how did your experience with them go?
The obvious part is it's a historic franchise in a great city, and you know, similar situation. They hadn't won a lot recently, and so it's a big challenge, a big opportunity to turn things. You know, I feel pretty confident about having an effect as we start a change like this. Having been through it a couple times, and so there's an excitement about that in that setting. You know, to get that thing turned around in that division so tough, just like ours is now. There was just a lot of really positive things about it. Of course, the quarterback was an exciting part of it, and little Trojan background and all that kind of stuff was fun. And I really liked the people a lot that we got to work with in setting the thing up, and the interviews and all of that was a really nice process. He is ready. Yeah, he is ready. He's been waiting for this opportunity for a number of years. He's been ready for some time. You know, I just told him all this positive stuff about Brian, that, you know, the stuff we'd been through together and the confidence I had in him, and to try to reassure him, because it sounded like he was, you know, really in the lead position to get that job. I was trying to help Jerry feel good about it too, you know, because he was trying to get ready for it. So it was. I was glad that I had a chance to help him.
You mentioned watching Ohio State this past year with Chip, and I know you worked with Jack Smith-Njigba in the past. What do you think about the way they've developed receivers and kind of the trend that they've had of producing guys?
Incredible program. It's incredible. They continue to just fuel that thing with great players, and coach he's got it going. You know, he knows how to utilize those good players and make sure that they continue to stay on top of things. The fact that he was able to, you know, roll Chip in there and out of there, you know, that fast and have an immediate impact like he did, and that's philosophy and approach and vision that you know, for that program that they've been able to maintain. So it's really impressive that they continue to do it.
Pete, you've learned something at each step.
What's some of the perspective that you learned in watching so much football this year, including, you know, the JV, high school and stuff that you can now apply?
Yeah, there's patterns to the game that I saw differently, and there's patterns to down and distance situations that whether you're playing JV football or you're playing for the Super Bowl, that you can see that occur in games that I see more clearly. Really, a lot of it was kind of the analytic outlook of it, but it was kind of like things kind of slowed down a little bit watching it this time around. When you're in the midst of all of these seasons, and every week is you're just so frantically going about, you know, planning for the next game, you don't get the chance to have that perspective and slow your mind down and really take a clear visual look at it. And that was just, it was a real highlight. I knew it was happening. It isn't like it happened and I thought about it afterward. I could tell it was happening. I could tell I could see it differently. I could feel the rhythms of the game differently. And I'm really excited to convey those things that we take that I look at differently than I have before. So I have a really strong philosophy about how we do things and why we do what we do. But yet, if you're competing, then you have to be dynamic enough to continue to grow and expand and all of that. So I'm really anxious to see how that plays in.
Pete, you learned something.
Part of that is, to your point about, like, obviously win forever. Is there any part of your year off where there was something you believed in really strongly, that there was some kind of, like, you know, they say if you're going to learn something, it's going to hurt your wallet or your ego? Was there anything that kind of hurt your ego as you learned something about that you might change going forward?
Yes.
Pete, you learned something at each step, each stop you've had as a coach. What did you learn with your time in Seattle?
Well, what I did take away, the whole experiment going to Seattle after USC was to see if we could carry the mentality and the approach to how we dealt with the people in the program and the people outside of the program, the fans and the following as well. in a similar fashion to see what would happen, what was different between college and what would be different between the NFL. I didn't find any difference at all, and I was really thrilled about that, and it just supported the mentality. If there's anything about that was easy to see transfer from college to the NFL, is how you treat people and how you look after them and you care for them, and you realize that the connection and the interaction that you can have with people can really help them find the best that they have to offer. And so we, throughout all of those years, it's been 20-something years of the same outlook in fundamentally. What was really true is how you deal with people, how you treat people, and if you treat them well and you look after them and you care for them, you can help them find what they have to offer. So that's something I'm really excited about learning, and I really wasn't sure. And I said that when I was started up, I didn't know. But I found within a couple of years, and really even in the first year in Seattle, we were able to turn the mentality and the approach. And we won a division somehow, and won a playoff game somehow, and got going. So in both the rhythms of both SC and Seattle, it took us a couple of years to be in the really thick of it, and it didn't take very long. And so I'm excited about hopefully being able to do the same thing here.
What's the last month been like, you and John Swiatek trying to grow as a GM and head coach, and also what's your shared vision of a Raider, what a Raider team looks like?
The time I've had with John has, and it really connects with Tom as well, because Tom and John are very, very well connected. To feel the continuity of our competitiveness and our approach and outlook and how we want to picture this thing coming together is like, it's just as solid as it could possibly be. And I couldn't be more fired up about it, because when Tom talks and when John talks and when I talk, we're talking the same language. It has not taken, it's been a seamless start to this thing. And so I didn't know, I didn't know that until we started hanging out. The relationship between the head coach and the general manager, to me, is the most important relationship in the NFL. And it was when John Schneider and I started, 15 years ago now. So I really treasure, this relationship, and I'm going to make it as good as possible. Well, this is John and Tom, and their outlook of stuff has made it really easier, and it's facilitated. One of the things, too, I might mention, you guys haven't asked yet, but what's really unique about our club now is the ownership shift has happened. And Mark Davis figured out the guys he wanted to put together, starting with Tom and then Egon Durbin and Michael Melvin and Tom. We put together a group of guys that are really freaking jacked to do something special. And it's so heartwarming to me that we're on the same page and we're going for it. So you'll see in the efforts that we're making to put this team together that we're not holding back. There's no timeline that we're going to try to do something good somewhere down the road so we can feel okay about ourselves. We're going for it, and it's exactly the way I wanted to do it, and hope that I would have partners in doing so. And these guys are really big time, and so well, hopefully you'll see it'll be obvious. But right now there's a great feeling about where we're trying to go and togetherness that we're feeling about that.
How involved is Tom?
How
involved is Tom? Is it every couple weeks you check in, or is it an everyday thing? How involved is Tom?
He's available every day. He's available every day, yet he's got a whole other world he's working on. So he consults with us, and he's really tuned in to what's happening, and Johnny keeps track of him every step of the way, and then I feel free and comfortable to call him or text him at any time, and we're responding regularly. So it's been great. It's hard to imagine. It's hard for anybody to imagine the mentality that Tom lives with on a daily basis. He is as competitive as anybody I've ever been around. And obviously he's as competitive as anybody's ever played any game. And he's really clear in his vision that he has for how he would hope to see this go and how he would like to influence it wherever he can. There is no mistake in it at all. And so I'm proud to represent the way he sees it, the way he thinks, and look forward to making him feel real proud of what we're all about.
Punch around with somebody that has some opportunity elsewhere. Behind that decision to make sure that he's there.
In putting the staff together, I really wanted to see if I could bring some people that have been with me, that I could have background with, that could help me share the ideas and the concepts that we were going to present. I wanted to get guys that had never been with me before, so they had to learn it with us for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted the guys that had been with me to have to teach those guys and to share with them. And then I also wanted, the third element of it was to get some guys that had been in the program so that they could give us an advantage, a leg up on the continuity that's necessary. Knowing the players, knowing the system, knowing the division, all of that. So there was really three elements that put them together, and Patrick and Robbie Leonard were right at the top of the list to get that done. And it's working out quite well.
Are you keep Pete? Are you keeping?
Yeah, we're going to be collaborative. We're going to do this thing together. It hasn't been any different in the last 20 years that I've been doing this. I'm using everybody that's around me. They're using me in every way that we possibly can. And we're going to work out our decisions, and that's to draw the best that we have to offer. And that means sometimes you got to discuss hard and long to get to the point, but you got to know when to and when not to. So I'm gonna, John, being his first time doing this job in particular, he doesn't come across like he's never done this before. He comes across like he's been around, he gets it, he has a mentality, he has an approach, an idea of what he's all about. I'm going to make that come to life. I'm going to try to help him in every way I possibly can to be just fully prepared and ready and balanced when he makes the choices and decisions that he makes that we share in. So it's going to be really a good deal.
You're known for prolific offenses, but a lot of people don't know the commitment you have to running the football. Would you talk about how important it is? John referenced, look at just the Eagles here. Would you talk about running the football?
Yeah, to me, we get misled by star power and in so many different ways and the flashy stuff. But in reality, this game has to be played from some fundamental approaches and aspects of it. And whereas the quarterback position gains all of the attention and all of that, the quarterback position needs to be supported in every way possible so that they can be as effective as they're able to be. And that takes a combination of elements that make up the support of the QB. And the running game is a huge element of that. Not just so that you can run the football. It ain't like 3 yards in a cloud of dust. What do you use to do that? That is the way we're talking about. You have to be able to run the football so that you can control your aspect of the game and take care of the ball, so that the quarterback isn't under duress, he isn't in issues, he's not behind the sticks, he's not behind the game, he's not behind the score, because of the way the defense plays, the way the special teams play. And we try to build a team around the quarterback position because, as Coach Walsh said a long time ago, it's the hardest position in professional sports to play. We need to do everything we can to facilitate and make it as easy as possible for that guy. So that's where the running game is so fundamental to it. But if you don't take care of the ball, none of that matters. So it's really the basics and the foundation of this game that comes to life, regardless of what level you're playing at. And that's what I'm saying. I watched all the way through this year. It was so obvious about how the game fits together, and hopefully we'll be able to do every bit of that.
Pete, what did your 15 years? Hello. What did your 15 years in Seattle mean? What's it mean to you now that you're not there?
They were great years. It was a fan, and it's still home to me.
You're keeping your place.
Yeah, still home, and I never would have known, had I not been hanging around the area this year, how much of a connection we have made with the community and the people, and the fans and the people that I meet running through the airports and in the streets wherever we're going have been so gracious, and it's been such an obvious had an obvious effect on me of how we did relate through the time we were together, and I'm really grateful for that. I didn't have the idea that there was that much of an exchange. Like I said, even in coming here too to the Raiders, my job isn't just the team. It extends beyond that. It extends to our fans. It extends to the people that support us and fill our stadium up and make it hard to play in because we're filling every seat and all of that. They're helping us win. So we're all in this thing together. And in taking that effort to Seattle, we're rewarded so extraordinarily because of the 12s and the way that they love their teams and all. So it was an unforgettable relationship, and I'm never going to lose connection with that. I just don't want to, and so I'm going to do everything I can to stay connected as much as possible.
When you put together your coaching staff, you brought a lot of guys from the college level. How beneficial do you think that would be in terms of evaluating that, and also just bringing them to
No, it's a really good point that you're observing there. The guys coming out of college football have a connection with the players, and not just the ones on their own teams, but the players that they've been playing against, the guys they've seen through recruiting, and they've known these kids that are playing for years. And so in this draft in particular, as it affected us when we started in Seattle, we really hit it in the middle to lower round picks, because I think we had better intel than maybe guys that hadn't had that opportunity to connect in college. So it's important to me to try to mix that. If you notice, we've been able to do that some. So it is a real benefit. So
Pete, I couldn't.
Yes.
We worked something really hard, and our guys went down and so it's so insulting to say it's just
He's already on the team, so like I'm sure John probably said something about it. We're not going to talk about guys on other clubs, but the quarterback position is going to be highly contested. And if you look back at when we started in Seattle and how we built a competition to find the proper guy that would take over in that job, that was a very intricate, elaborate process. And then we saw Russell won the competition was because it was a wide open competition that was very well designed and organized, and it worked out fine. So however this goes, our guys are all going to take a shot at it, and we've got guys on the roster right now that are fighting their tails off to see if they can own that position. We're going to give them every chance.
Pete, I couldn't help but notice that Dave.
No way.
Pete,
You can't even come up with a question.
I couldn't help but notice Dave Canales is down there speaking on the podium. So that when you see guys that you've been with, now head coaches having success, what kind of pride do you have?
I'm coming back to you. Yeah, that was part of watching David do it, and Danny do it, and the guys all over the league doing it. So many guys coaching in so many different settings. It was all part of it. It's just so full of spirited observation throughout the whole thing, and love for all of our guys to have opportunities and challenges.
There was a Titans.
What's Dave doing?
There was a Titans.
Pete, I do have one. Yeah, you got Brennan back with you.
Okay, that'll do it.
So you got Brennan back with you. What did he learn at UW last year, and then getting him back with you?
Yeah, with Jed, they were on a run this last 4 years. With what they did in Arizona, they turned that program around and refueled and tooled that one up. And then they came right in after an extraordinary year that UW had the year before, but they lost everybody. Almost lost the whole team. To come back as well as they did this time around, and Steve Belichick there too, which was really fun to watch. I watched him very carefully and everything. Watched him throughout the year to just keep track of a different outlook of ball and all that. It was a very beneficial year. But to get BC back in action with us is important. The loyalty that is necessary in this job, you got to have people that will tell you the truth, and they'll tell you, straight up when you're screwing up. And so he's going to be that. He's one of those guys that can't replace that kind of connection. So it's thrilled to have.
Pete, in your experience, when did trade talks about number one pick or high picks really start to have some credence in this process?
When do they start?
When it start to have some meaning? We got
to get closer. We got to get a lot closer. We're not there yet.
Speaking of a connection like that, Bobby Wagner had a great year in Washington, playing for free agency. Just what do you think of the level of play he's still hitting?
I thought it was a remarkable season that he had in many ways. I know he was a great asset to Danny, putting together the system and the approach and the principles and stuff. We all kind of grew up in the same ways, and so the message and the voice that Bobby had on that club, and particularly with the quarterback, the relationship that he established, was replacement for them. And so I know Bobby is a free agent.
Hey Pete, we're at the Combine. We measure all these things about players. If there was a Combine for head coaches, what would you want to measure to see a great head coach?
A combine for head coaches?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool. I'd probably kick butt in that thing. No, that would be interesting. You could take them through all kinds of things. You could find out, where they are if they answer the questions, which they won't. About the competitive questions about how their outlook on stuff and trends and situations that are happening and situational football. Well, it'd be fun to have that. And if we could make a little competition out of that, that'd be fun.
Hey, Andy Reid had something really special to say about you
No way.
coming back in. I mean, you're talking about relationships and maybe a combine for coaches. What does that mean to have another gentleman like him that's got a lot of success like yourself?
It's been fantastic to watch Andy do it. Man, the consistency that he's shown. I love consistency when people can particularly stay on top for a long time. Man, he's just done all of that. Unfortunately, it didn't wind up with this game, but that's not to take away anything what they've established. Our division's loaded. Jimmy Harbaugh, man, I'll be talking with Jim down. I'll be chasing him around here somewhere later today to check out what he's doing. And Sean, in Denver, it's a really competitive mentality. I hope that we can affect somewhat, but I'm really excited about this. Thank you guys. Last one. Go ahead.
You just mentioned Bobby Wagner's a free agent. Another one of your former players, Russell Wilson, free agent. How much have you kept up with him since he departed Seattle and maybe other
You might be surprised how much we all communicate. All the guys from back in the day, we still communicate and watch each other and share stories and the whole thing. So it's been really fun to watch our guys. Did you see Marshawn at our press conference?